So yes, that's right.
Shed some light here. Let's straighten this thing out.
By the way, we know everything, but we will tell you nothing.
Right.
So just be aware.
Give us an idea when you're planning a show like this. How far in advance have you planned it?
I mean,
5 years?
we've essentially, we've talked about. We know what the end of the first season is. We know what the second season is about. We certainly have 10 polls that we're going to hit along the way in season one. And I think the trick of doing a show like this is not to lock yourself in too tightly to certain long stories. And so we have directions that we want to go. We know where we're getting to at the end, but we really try to keep it loose in that way, and that we can come up with great ideas along the way and follow those. And this show has kind of taken on a life of its own in a weird way. I think when we're writing the show, these characters are they feel alive in this kind of weird way, and so we kind of have to follow them as well.
Vanessa Williams mentioned the Madoffs and some parallels with that family. Were there any specific families or headlines that you've kind of drew inspiration from in creating this story?
I'm totally throwing that your way.
Have you read Paradise Lost?
Yeah.
Well, it starts with that.
Okay.
The whole thing's all you need to do is read Milton, and then you understand Wilcox.
No, we, certainly, I think the essence of these characters, or certainly the essence of Gavin Duran that we talked about, is in many ways he's a con man. He is sort of the essence of a devil kind of character. Is that you shouldn't trust anything he says, and I think it's very easy to kind of look at our culture now and see certain parallels with people like the Madoffs and everything that Gavin kind of will remind us of, and that's certainly by design. And I think his character will resonate with audiences because of that. Because we see these people, every day. We hear about them every day, and then with Gavin Duran, we'll kind of get a closer look at what makes them tick.
What was the genesis of the basic idea behind the show, and the mixture of the different types of things there, the sort of the creepy but the drama?
The genesis of the show initially was based on a series of books written by Gabrielle Pierce, and but I was encouraged to depart from those. I drew from some of the films that have really inspired me. Rosemary's Baby, The Shining, The Omen, Jacob's Ladder, films like that I think do horror and do a certain kind of horror, which is it's a much more psychological horror, and do it incredibly well. And that's what we aspire to do with this show. We don't have the tool in our arsenal on network television to do heavy gore and a lot of blood or anything like that. So we have to be very clever with our storytelling. The genesis of this show was very much kind of taking all of that and looking at, okay, how can we tell a show? How can we tell stories and that could have these sort of legs, that could actually be stories that would generate an infinite number of characters and stories. And frankly, an apartment building where people move in and out and they all want to make deals with the devil and everything. It was actually just one of those ideas that just kind of, when it hit, we were like, oh yeah, that could really work.
In the pilot, the opening scene with the violinist, and it sets a definite tone, kind of a gory, creepy tone. Is that kind of going to permeate through the season? And then also, how the episodes, are they going to set up more of a, a deal of the episode kind of story, so it's kind of close-ended, or will be mostly all arc or a combination?
I think it's a combination. I think that, with our series regulars, we're going to be looking at, like, when David was saying that Gavin's a con artist, well, then they're in more of a long con kind of a thing through the course of a season or half season or whatever that is. And then we're also going to be using these resident of the week, as we call them. Now, that doesn't mean that it will be one episode that character will be in. I think for us, the strongest way to integrate these characters is to bring the resident in a different way in an episode. If somebody comes in, if there's a character who's a doctor or something like that, and he comes in some way to just facilitate like a simple medical need, and then ultimately you learn that this character may have, his own Faustian bargain with Gavin. What is he willing to do? The idea of the resident of the week is you get to do this sort of shortcut. You get to do the same thing, but you get to do it at a more accelerated pace, so that the storytelling in the show can feel like it has a little bit more of an engine. So some of those resident of the week stories will be in episode, like in the pilot with the Barlows. And sometimes they'll be over 2 episodes, sometimes it's 3. Sometimes you do a character that will come in for 3 episodes, not get sucked into a wall, end up still alive, and then come back 4 or 5 episodes later.
The important thing, for us is that the show resists a certain kind of predictability. And because when we become, if we become formulaic, if we become predictable, I think the show fails, and so that dictates a lot of our decisions in our storytelling. Is what's the surprising twist here that people aren't going to see coming, and that kind of thing. It's like Janet Leigh in Psycho. You certainly didn't expect her to be killed 20 minutes in.
So viewers aren't gonna watch an episode and feel that they're watching a procedural that's turned into a kind of a horror. It's really gonna be more of a serial drama type.
Yeah, very much so, and this is at its heart. It's a character-driven show, and we really resist a sort of procedural approach to any of that. Not that not that that's not good storytelling. It's something that I've done a lot of, but for this show, I think it's not the right fit. We want to tell stories that are driven by characters, and we can dig deep into who these people are.
Last question. These like side stories and stuff like that, are they still going to be used to provide clues to what the building is and what's going on?
Yeah, you'll learn about a little bit more with each episode about the rules of the game and how they interact with Gavin and that. But also, Jane is really going to be sort of the eyes and ears of the building, the one that's investigating and sort of scratching away at the surface and finding out the clues to this enormous puzzle box, which is the train.
Would you say the building then is like one of the main characters?
She's not the main character. Yeah.
Very much so. And there are mysteries of this building that we'll be uncovering over the course of the entire series. Hopefully we'll go a long time, but it's the building itself is endless mystery, infinite mystery.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.